Hey everybody, totally forgot to mention this week's giveaway. This week's going to be a set of Mavic gloves. If you can put in the comments below your favourite ever race that you've watched. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy the video and we'll see you all soon. Cheers. So welcome back to another video. On the last video we had a look through all my collection of BMX bikes. On this video I'm going to go through all the mountain bikes I've currently got. They're all Nuke Proof bikes as it happens, which you probably won't be surprised about, but I've got some pretty cool bikes I'd like to talk you through. So let's start off with my son's custom Nuke Proof Mega. So this bike's super cool. It's Nuke Proof made bikes back in the 90s, and then Chain Reaction took over that brand name in more recent years, and since I've been working for them we started making bikes again in around end of 2010, 2011. The original bike was the Nuke Proof Mega, which was designed as a trail bike that rode like a mini downhill bike. The name comes from the Mega Avalanche that everybody, you know, most people have been and had a go at if you've been a racer. The Nuke Proof Mega was designed sort of for that type of riding, and the original Nuke Proof Mega was made with simple round tubing, square tubing at the back, and this version is an original 26-inch Nuke Proof Mega that my friend Mark Caudle chopped all the tubes up, and we redesigned it to turn it into a 20-inch bike for my son Harrison when he was about 5 years old. So what we did on this bike was we came up with a geometry that would work for the 20-inch wheels. Cut all the tubing up. Some of the really smart features are, you can see, to get the seat tube as low as possible when he was small, he's even welded a seat clamp into the top tube and seat tube just to lower it down. We basically, I got the shortest shock available I could get from Rock Shops. They were good enough to give me that. This is the original mount for the shock, and then we turned the linkage upside down. That linkage would have originally been attached to the top tube. Cord made a bracket, put the link upside down to enable to get the shock lower down on the bike. Cut the seat stays and chain stays down to shorten that all up. I got some 20-inch wheels built up with Nuke Proof hubs and halo wheels. We've got some aluminium SRAM cranks, which again, as you can see, cord cut down and re-tapped because the bottom bracket's lower on this bike for the 20-inch wheels. We shortened the cranks down to 135 so they wouldn't catch on the floor. It's got about 100mm of travel on the rear. Same on the forks. Suntour made some really lightly valved forks for kids, so I got a set of those. And the rest of the stuff on it is pretty standard stuff. SRAM and Avid, SRAM gears, Avid brakes. We've got some, Hope sent me some little mini pedals in red to match the colourway on the bike. We've got V-Tyre sent me some little 20-inch mountain bike tyres. What else have we got? And then Slick Graphics made some super cool red, black and custom graphics, which is the colourway my son decided he wanted when I asked him. He's got his name written on there, and this is just a super cool little bike. He's kind of grown out of it now, which I'm quite sad about. Lots of people have messaged me to see if I'd sell the bike, but I'm reluctant to sell it. I think it might be another one that I keep for many years. We'll have to see. What a cool bike. So again, another Nuke Proof Mega. This is probably the coolest bike I've ever owned. With the this is a version 3 Mega, 27.5. inch wheels on this bike. This is a 2017 bike that I raced at the Irish EWS. As I was a kid growing up, Barry Sheen was a household name. You know, we were always interested in bike racing, and Barry Sheen had some super cool bikes over the years, and this is sort of a replica of one of his Suzuki bikes with his iconic number 7 on there. A big thanks to Rob Sherritt, marketing manager from Nuke Proof, who arranged for this bike to get custom painted for me. They got all the frame painted, and it's got some really cool features on the frame. It's got, you know, the years Barry Sheen was alive. It's got Nuke Proof logos and my name in the sort of graphics that Barry's bike had on the Suzuki. It's got his iconic duck logo on the top tube. Mavic got the wheels painted for me in the same gold colour that Barry Sheen's bike had back in the day. Everything else on the bike is tried to match in as good as possible. I had a full race kit to match that Mavic had done 100%. Did me a custom helmet to match that, and yeah, I was really thankful to everybody that got involved and did that for me. It's the first ever full custom bike I've ever had, so this is one that I won't be getting rid of. Looks super cool, and anytime I go riding on that, I went for a ride on this the other week. Every time I go anywhere on it or post a picture, I get so many comments on this bike, you know, so many people know who Barry Sheen is, and we're big fans of his and his riding career. So really pleased with this bike, and one that I'll always keep hold of. It's got the little nice touch on the back, hashtag long live chainsaw for Stevie Smith on there. It's another nice little touch on the bike that got done back in 2007, and unfortunately we lost Stevie. But yeah, really cool bike. So still on the Nuke Proof Mega theme, it is the latest edition of the Mega. This is full carbon 29er. This is in the team yellow that we had for the 2020 season. Short season that it was, but this was a new model for last year. It's got some really good revisions to the Mega that we've worked on over the last few years. Everybody wanted a water bottle mount, which has been introduced into this frame. It's got a little bit of a shorter back end, so it actually does make a big difference to the handling on the tighter, steeper tracks that you come across on the EWS circuit and whenever you're going riding. But yeah, love this bike. Managed to get my first Masters EW win on this last year in Zermatt, where you were there, TJ. Probably helped that it was only two stages and it was raining, but I'll take that anyway. It's the first year we've switched from Mavic wheels onto the new Nuke Proof Horizon wheels, so I've been riding them all winter. Haven't even bent a rim, dinted a rim. It's not gone out of true. They run super fast, so I think they're going to be a great addition to the team bike builds this year. But yeah, another really cool bike that I've been you know, able to own and still ride this bike a lot. Rode this last weekend on some downhill tracks, and yeah, I love this bike. It's really good handling bike, and now that we've got all the geometry dialed on the 29-inch wheels, there's not, you know, there's I don't seem to think there's much negatives on having a big wheel on your enduro bike these days. But yeah, cool bike. And then moving on to the latest bike in the Nuke Proof range is the Nuke Proof Giga. This is my bike. You might have seen this before. Video that was shot last year. Ant Hale was riding this bike, and Elliot was riding a blue version for the launch video of the Giga the end of last year. The Giga is basically a long travel enduro bike, but perfect bike for going on uplifts, bike parks, downhill runs where you want to pedal back up to the top. It's based on the platform that we use on the Descent downhill bike in the Nuke Proof range. This is a 29-inch wheel version. It is 170mm travel on the back. I've got 180mm set of lyrics on the front. So the comparison between that and the Mega, my Mega is 160mm on the back with a 170 fork. The main difference on the two bikes is obviously they look a lot different. The geometry is very similar. You've got a couple of mil difference in the length of the back end on the two bikes. The Mega's a couple of mils shorter. Obviously then the wheelbase is a little tiny bit longer on this Giga, both in medium size. The reason the wheelbase is a bit longer is because the back end's a tiny bit shorter on the Mega, and then I've got a 180 fork on the front of this Giga, so it just lengthens it that little tiny bit. But the main difference is the suspension platform. The Mega uses a FSR suspension design, 4-bar suspension design, which has been around for many years, whereas the Giga uses a Nuke Proof's version of linkage driven single pivot bike. So as you can see, the rear triangle on the Giga is one solid triangle, whereas the Mega is in different pieces. So all the linkage on the Giga is in this swing link here, and then little links that join that up. That enables us to be able to design the correct suspension curve that we want. If you move around to the other side of the bike, you can see the Giga has an adjustment for your suspension here. So undo a little 8mm Allen key bolt there. You've got a lever that you can move around with your hand, with your finger, so you can do this actually on the trail, and that changes the progressiveness of the suspension, so you can have a more linear setup or a more progressive setup, which depending on your riding style or where you're riding, that's something that's a really cool feature on the bike, easily done. You can see the Giga's got a space designed into the down tube of the carbon frame to fit a full-size water bottle in there, and yeah, I think the bike looks awesome. What you might notice is, the bike looks very similar to the current downhill bike, the Descent, in the suspension platform and the shape of the frame. And then if you move on over to this old Nuke Proof Pulse downhill bike, which is the second version of the Pulse. This is a 2015 bike. The original Scalp downhill bike uses a very similar suspension platform, which is what is now on the Giga. So even though it's a very new bike and we've tweaked the suspension on it, it's very similar to our 2011 Nuke Proof Scalp downhill bike. You can see on this custom team Pulse we had in 2015, you've got your single swing arm at the back with your linkage. It's a little bit of a different setup within the bike here on the Pulse now, but very similar setup to the Giga and the Descent. This was a really cool paint job, I thought. Back in 2015 I was really interested in motorbike enduro, and I really liked the colour scheme for the Husqvarna team, so that was the idea I got for the colour scheme on the 2015 bikes. Obviously blue and yellow is kind of the colourway that we represent with the CRC Nuke Proof team. Yellow for Nuke Proof and blue for Chain Reaction Cycles. So this was my actual downhill race bike for 2015 that I never raced that year, so I didn't actually ride it. So it's still brand new, and I think this bike is super cool looking. I'm going to keep hold of this one. So this bike is a Nuke Proof Rook. It's a bike that wasn't made for too many years. We're going back to around 2013, I think, when they did this bike. It was actually designed for a slopestyle rider that was riding for Nuke Proof, an Australian rider. Obviously very small, short under travel mil suspension bike with I think it's got a 69-degree head angle, so steep for hitting the dirt jumps and doing all the tricks. It did have a special head tube that was made in here, and it had a built-in gyro that you could get with this bike for for all the guys doing all the tricks. Obviously that's nothing that I can do, but this bike, the team had a few of these bikes and we built them up into slalom bikes one year to go to Sea Otter. I think this actual bike is the one Sam Hill used for slalom and the downhill at Sea Otter, the first year he rode for the team in 2013. Since then, this bike, even though they don't make it anymore, it's been really popular with four-cross guys in the UK. I get asked all the time, do I have any spare ruck frames or bikes, and it's something that I'd like to see us bring back from Nuke Proof in the future. I still ride this bike up in the local woods and local, you know, jumps at Pimbo Bike Park and stuff. It's a great little bike for whipping around on. 26-inch wheels, super quick little bike, and yeah, I love it. I'm going to keep hold of this one as well. Another really popular bike in the Nuke Proof range is the Nuke Proof Scout. And then a couple of years ago, I'd been asking, along with probably a lot of other people, when we were going to start making kids bikes with the Nuke Proof range. So obviously, you know, the brand's growing and getting more and more popular. So they introduced the Scout into 3 different wheel sizes for kids a couple of years ago. There's a 20-inch version, 24 and 26. My little boy had a 20-inch version just up until this year, and as he's growing and getting taller, he's moved on to a 24-inch version, which is this bike now. It's a really smart little bike for kids. The confidence this bike has given my little lad is amazing. He's starting to, you know, do jumps and be more comfortable riding down some, you know, some downhill tracks on this. Obviously rigid back end, but it's got a really good set of Manitou suspension forks on that are, you know, valve for kids' weights. This bike is standard, other than I've changed a few things on the bike. I've put on some Nuke Proof. Nuke Proof got a kids range now, called the Urchin range. So they've got smaller Nuke Proof pedals. We've got kids saddles and grips and handlebars with really cool graphics on. Little lad loves that. As you can probably tell with his 2 bikes, he's quite a fan of silver, black and red. So I've tried to make this bike look a bit individual for him. Put the red Urchin components on there, and then I've just recently got him a little dropper post on there from Brand X. Only a little bit of travel, cable operated dropper post, but he's really getting on with that, so he can have his seat up for pedalling up the hills and drop it down for coming down the trails and hitting the jumps. And yeah, he loves this little bike. It's really good. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you want to see any of these bikes being ridden by myself, drop us a comment below, give us a like on the video, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.